So it's 1989. I'm a senior in high school. And that's when I first hear about this book, The Satanic Verses, written by Salman Rushdie. And my high school at the time had this thing that they did where you could, everybody in the graduating class selected a hardcover book of their choosing, whatever they wanted, and the school would emboss it with the seal. This was the Wheeler School in Providence, and so their seal was this flame, and they would emblazon that on whatever hardcover book you chose and present it to you at commencement when you graduated. And this book was in the news that year because it had recently been published. It was this writer's fourth novel. I didn't know anything about him, and I didn't actually read the book before learning about how it had been banned in all these countries, and the Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran had issued an edict, basically a death sentence, calling on Muslims anywhere in the world to murder the author because the book was blasphemous, I guess is the short explanation. This seemed like an outrageous act of censorship. It just outraged my sensibilities as an 18-year-old, so I chose that book. And I may have gotten a little bit of pleasure from also just the title of the book, The Satanic Verses. So anyway, that was my selection. And only that summer, when I was a little bit bored, did I actually open it up and say, well, I wonder what this book is about. And I read this wonderful, funny, beautiful, irreverent, but also deeply affectionate and kind of moving novel. And it's such a crazy, crazy book if you've never read it. You know, really just wonderful and worth admiring. And the outrage over it. I mean, one translator was stabbed to death in Japan, and I think an Italian translator was stabbed but did not die. He survived. And bookstores were being threatened with bombings, and it was just outrageous. And of course, Salman Rushdie was in hiding for most of a decade. He wrote a memoir describing that unbelievable time. That's called Joseph Anton, is the name of the memoir, if you want to read about that. So aside from wanting the author to survive this attempt to silence him once and for all, and seeking some sort of rebuff against this sort of edict and this sort of activity. And I realize I'm making a presumption about what the assailant's motive was, and it might be wrong. So I'll accept that if I'm wrong, but I know what this looks like, and so do you. Besides just wanting Rushdie to survive and to continue writing, I don't love all of his books, but this is a wonderful one. He wrote some other beautiful ones as well, and I don't know, it might be another summer to read The Satanic Verses.